Coached her, I want to say her first year or so in the business, and I'm super proud to bring her up on stage. Linsey Planeta, give her a big round of applause, everybody.
Okay, so I am so excited to be able to share this with you guys today. I am a coach, and I have the good fortune to be able to coach some really exciting agents doing some really neat things. And I know some of you are in the room today. All right, so let's, there we go. All right, so one of the reasons that I started coaching again, I used to coach a few years ago, and one of my real passions is around technology. And I'm really interested in how technology can assist us in growing our businesses and creating efficiency. So I love tools like this. Tablets and phones that are smartphones, really cool stuff we can do with that. So I love helping agents with some of these tools. I love helping agents with efficiency tools like Evernote, Google Apps, and then of course social media. We're all talking about social media, and there are great opportunities with social media, specifically Facebook, probably one of my favorites. Websites have completely changed. Completely changed. WordPress has totally changed the agent website. IDX has totally changed the agent website. Huge opportunities here, guys. So a lot of coaching clients come into my schedule and they want to talk about these strategies. They want to talk about these tools. And because I have this technology side to my coaching, I have a lot of these clients come into my schedule saying, I want to learn how to generate more business online. And therein lies the big mistake. I think this gives me a unique perspective to kind of see one of the biggest mistakes that agents are making today. But when you identify one of the biggest mistakes, you've also identified one of the biggest opportunities. So I'm going to ask your permission to be totally, brutally honest. Can I get your permission to be totally, brutally honest? Okay. I want every single one of you to right now write down what is your past client center of influence system. Right now, you don't need to talk to your neighbors. I want you all to write it down. And I want you not to write down what you think the system is. I want you to write down what you do. What do you do for your past clients and your center of influence right now? Oh, I love the music. Okay. So this is what happens when I have a new coaching client that comes into my schedule very often. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about how this usually works. People come into my schedule and they say, you know, Linsey, I'd really like to learn about how to generate more business online. I love it. Absolutely love it. But I'll ask every single one of them, tell me where you get your business today. Where do you get your business today? And what do most agents say? They say that most of their business comes from past clients and center of influence. 80%, 90%, people they know. And that's not surprising because 41% of buyers found their agent through somebody that they know or through a referral. 41%. What is surprising is that only 9% used an agent that they'd used previously. 9%. I think that's saying something. So then I say to my coaching clients, tell me about, this is not a political commentary, but isn't that a great picture? Gosh darn. Okay, so then I say, tell me a little bit about your past clients and center of influence strategy. Tell me a little bit about that. What is your system? And often I get something along the lines of, well, I email, like, you know, my newsletter, and well, sometimes I mail. And then I'd like to call. I should call more often, but I'm really not that comfortable. I don't know what to say. I don't want to ask people for business. And so that's kind of what I'm getting from what is the system. Did you write down something like this? Did you write down something that you can immediately say, this is what I do? I email everybody every other week. I spend 15 minutes a day on Facebook making sure, I'm not interested in what you're posting. I'm interested in making sure you're listening. Are you listening to your sphere, your past clients on Facebook? Are you interacting with them? Are you meeting with your favorite top 25 people every other week? Are you doing that? Your favorite top 25 clients every other week, you meet with them, have coffee, go for a glass of wine, go invite them over for a barbecue. These are your favorite folks. Are you doing that? Were you able to write down a list this succinctly? Because I have a really important question to ask you guys. And I want you to really think about this. Why are you trying so hard to meet people that you don't know when you're failing to do the job with the people that you do? Why are you trying so hard to find people that you don't know to do business with when you're failing to take care of the people that you do know? So some of you may be bristling at that idea. Am I accusing you of failing to do your job? Yeah, I am. I think you're scratching the surface of your potential. You are scratching the surface of your potential. So what does it mean to really serve your past clients and center of influence at a really high level? What are the opportunities here? Because you will absolutely get more referrals if you do. You will absolutely get more referrals if you do the things I'm going to suggest today. All right, so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to give you two examples. One is how to serve your existing database, and the other one is how to serve your existing client, someone that you're in a transaction with. Two examples of a high level of service. But this is going to start with mindset, you guys. I really want you to shift a little bit of your mindset. Do you see these? Realtor for life, your real estate consultant, your real estate advisor, your resource for all things real estate. So my question is, are you? Are you their advisor? Are you their consultant? Are you that person? So this is, I want you to come at all of this with that mindset. Because if you are saying that, if you're saying these things in your marketing, then you better be living into this. You better be fulfilling this promise that you're making. Because these aren't just words, you're promising something. So let's talk about the first one, serving your existing database. I want to address this. We're all so afraid of this. Afraid to pick up the phone and call people that we haven't spoken to in a while. So afraid to pick up this phone. But guess what? It is your job. And I'm not saying it's your job in the sense that get on the phone, make 25 phone calls, and ask a bunch of people for business. I want you to shift your mindset a little bit. I want you guys to be the resource. It's your job to call them and have these conversations about what's going on in the industry. What's going on in the national housing environment? What's going on in your local housing environment? Are you having those phone calls with them? Are you the one who's providing that information? So I want to give you an example. In Orange County, we have something called Melrose. So for those of you who live here, you know we have Melrose bonds. It's part of your property taxes. And this year, Jerry Brown said that they're going to start auditing for that particular item. Melrose is not tax deductible. It never has been. But like 90-some% of people write it off here. What is really interesting is that if he's going to start auditing for that, this is the best opportunity to get on the phone and reach out to every single one of the people that I know that own a home that has a Melrose bond. And that's a bunch around here. That's my job. That's my job to make sure I'm the one delivering that information to my clients, to my network. That is my job. So I want you to think of the ways that you can do that with your network. What are the things that are happening in your local housing environment? The national news, HARP 2.0 came out. How many of you called your clients and said, this is something I thought you'd want to know about? Or this is something that might be important to someone that you know. Can I reach out to them? Are you providing that level of service? Because in my opinion, that's your job. Lead generation, I'm not saying, hey, this is not a form of lead generation. It's necessary. But your job is to serve these people. You sold them that home. It's your job to make sure that you are informing them about what's going on in the real estate industry and what's going on with their investment. Okay, so now I want to talk about something that you can do during a transaction that I think is a higher level of service. How do you guys service your listings? How do you guys service your listings? I want you to think about it for a second. I'm not going to call you out, but I want you to think about it for a second. Often what I hear, it's not marketing. I hear things like, well, I do this kind of flyer, and then I send this postcard. It's not marketing, guys. That's not the service I'm talking about. This is the service I'm talking about. Are you providing all of this information? Are you saying this just happened in our local housing environment and this is how it would impact your active listing? School lines were just redrawn. Not only did I deploy this marketing, but these are the results I'm getting from that effort. Open houses. This is the open house I did. This is the results of that open house, the kind of traffic we had. Not only all of the recent sales and the new listings, but here's a foreclosure coming up on your street that might impact your listing. Are you communicating this kind of stuff regularly? Be careful of automation. Cliff Stevenson will come on later and tell you to automate everything. But automation in this regard, I want you guys to be careful of. If you are saying, here's all the activity that we had on Trulia or Realtor.com, and that's all being pushed out to them, that's wonderful. But the problem is they don't have any frame of reference for that. What they want is your opinion. What they want is your knowledge. Just pushing out a bunch of information to make it seem like you are doing your job is not serving them. And more importantly, they need to know all of this information in one place. They want to know that you looked at it. So, for example, if you're pushing out the Realtor.com or the Zillow, here's all of the traffic you got, I guarantee you your clients are thinking, did she even look at it? Does she know? And what does it mean? So if you put all of this in the right type of one report, it tells a story. Not only does it tell a story to them, but you know the story of that listing. Here's the entire narrative of that listing. This is really, really important stuff. Create a listing service report, you guys. Create a listing service report, a commitment of communication with your clients. If you need an assistant to compile the information, fine. This is what's interesting about this type of strategy, is that when you educate your clients and serve them at this level, the decisions become really, really easy. The really hard conversations become really easy. So every time I take a listing, I have this conversation with my clients. I explain to them the difference between an objection and a condition. I want them to know that. I want them, so for example, I had a listing recently that they had a dining room and they had a piano and a reading chair in there rather than a dining room table. We got enough feedback that pretty soon my client was able to discern, my gosh, I probably should get this piano out of here. It was really easy. By the time I addressed it, he was already finding a dining room table to stick in there. Objection description, handled. Feedback and watching what was going on in the listing service report, handled. A condition, something you can't do anything about. They had a not very private yard. Lots of homes looking into their backyard. We can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about the fact that those homes look into that backyard. And if we have a condition that a buyer is not willing to overlook, then the price is too high given that condition. By the time I went to have that conversation, he was ready for a price reduction because he already knew. He already knew. I know what you guys are thinking too. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put this together. But this is service. This is really serving. You compile that information, you can advise your clients responsibly. You have disjointed like feedback and listing information and you don't really know the story, you're not responsibly advising them. You're not responsibly advising them. Give them the story of their listing. It's your job. It is your job. So, 3 things that I want you guys, actually I'm going to make it 4. If you didn't have a very, very clear idea of this is my past client sphere of influence system, that's actually job number 1. Get clear over the next 4 days what that is. Not the dream one, but the one you're actually going to do. And I want you to get a Google Reader. So I keep talking about understanding what's going on in the national housing environment and the local housing environment. How do you guys know that? How do you guys know what's going on? Are you paying attention? Are you the most educated person in the room when it comes to real estate? You better be. I don't want anybody in this room to walk into a buyer appointment or into a listing appointment where their client knows more than they do. So how do we do this without having it become a massive time suck? Get a Google Reader. Go to google.com/reader. And if you're not familiar with that symbol, that little orange, that's an RSS feed. An RSS feed. Click on it. Subscribe to whatever blog content you're looking for. So Wall Street Journal has a real estate section. Foreclosure Radar has a great blog. If you're in Orange County Real Estate Register has a really great blog. John Lansner. Find your local paper. Find what their real estate section is. Take 15 minutes a day, you guys, and read it. This becomes an inbound, it's like your email. All of those articles that are written are pushed right back to you in one place where you can get up 15 minutes, read what's going on, and start scheduling calls to your past clients and center of influence and actually do them. Actually do them. Can you imagine, you guys, the difference between calling and saying, you know, who do you know that wants to buy or sell, and you feel uncomfortable, and then they go, oh, here's Linsey again, she called 90 days ago, here's my quarterly call. Actually, they'll start picking up the phone when they know you've got something that's important to tell them. I want you to be that kind of value to your clients. And the last thing I want you to do is put together a solid listing service report. Figure out the time frame, the method of delivery. I use Google Docs. Figure out what that is and make a commitment to your clients and to yourselves to do it. There are lots of ways, you guys. These are 2 examples that I've given you around the mindset around calling and the listing service report. But I'm going to ask you guys, start thinking about the ways that you can get creative and serve your clients at a really, really high level. Be the real estate advisor. Be the real estate consultant. Be their realtor for life. Don't just say it. Live that way. Be that person for them. And I guarantee you, you will absolutely, no questions asked, get a ton more referrals. All right, thanks, guys.
Nice job. Or I'll take the click. All right.